What's going on, everybody? This is Nick Lawson, episode number 17. Sports is all shut down right now, but we couldn't not go another week without giving you your sports sponsorship tip of the week. So, elephant in the room, sports are shut down. It's one of those things we'll tell our grandchildren about, the time when the coronavirus really halted all of the world, but all of us, all the things we took for granted. One of those things being live sports. I feel for our clients. I feel for the teams out there who had opening days, who had postseasons coming up, and now we don't know if that's going to come into fruition. I really feel for the NCAA teams that never got to see their full destiny pushed and provided, especially ETSU and George Mason as they were going through, getting to March Madness. But whenever there is a crisis like this, there's always opportunity for us to really change. And really, the tip of the week this week is to look at this as sort of a pivot that we've needed to make a long time, especially within sponsorship, and that is just really not relying on our live games and having content digitally mainly, because right now that's almost the only way we can reach our fans, but having content that's really going to push connectivity, engagement outside of live games and not have a reliance on that. So the tip of the week this week is going to come around a bunch of different things that I think you should be using this time to look at as we look at the next month, maybe 2 months, maybe hopefully not, but maybe 3 months until we get back into action. The first thing I'll say is build up your channels right now. Some of us have zero YouTube presence on that end. I've talked about why video is so important within sponsorship. It is now more important than ever because we have sponsors who aren't getting that engagement they thought they would be getting with live games, and we have to fulfill that with something else. So this is a perfect time to start really pushing new videos on YouTube and building up your presence there, and obviously having sponsors have the ability to jump on that and engage with that. This is also a perfect time to jump on Snapchat. People are at home. Younger people are literally using Snapchat to communicate right now. Build up your presence. Take old highlights. Take some of your older content that maybe you've built, a dad joke segment, and make that for Snapchat and really start building a presence there. You're going to build a following. Different digital games. With a lot of our clients, we're actually using digital games as a buffer now. It used to be, hey, this is the in-game piece. Let's actually have that be a buffer for replacing, hey, you're not going to get this in-game, but let's do a trivia live sort of over a Facebook Live, or going on Twitter, or even doing that through Snapchat. This is a great opportunity to build up those channels that you'd never had time you thought to build up. Is now a necessity, and this is only going to build up those channels even more in the off season. You will only come out stronger if you do that and build those channels up. You'll have more content to sponsor in the off season, making you a 24/7 365 team. You'll have more connection with your fans, you'll have more feedback, and you'll have more ways uniquely that your brands can connect with your fans outside of just in stadium. So build up those channels. Also, what a great time to get creative with your content, right? Channels is important, but content is even more important. One thing that we do at Squad, we do a 1Q sponsorship interview where we send out a video to somebody in sponsorship, just of us recording on the phone, asking them a question, and they can respond back. What if you did that with your players who are sitting at home right now, kind of with nothing to do, and you had fans send in questions to you that then the players could take 10 seconds, 15 seconds, a minute to respond on their phone. That's something where that's a new piece of content that can last throughout the year, during the week, into the rest of the season, into next season. It's just a foundational piece of content now that you always have, and this is a great time to be able to kickstart that, get that going. So content is important just as much as channel. The last thing I'll say here is just take risks. Again, we don't have live games. We have to figure out ways to engage our fans and again connect them with sponsors. in ways that are going to be outside of television for our live games and in some other pieces. So what I'll say to you is take some risks. Get on channels you thought that you could never get on, because fans are really looking for ways to consume. And you have the time right now to be able to engage, connect them, and build up that sort of engagement so that when games do come back, you're already at the tip of the iceberg for getting people back in. You've engaged with them, you've kept top of mind, so when opening day does come up, you have a list or a channel that you can really pull them in, grab them in, and get them back focused on your team. So again, tip of the week this week is with a great crisis that is right now, where we all of a sudden do not have inventory that we thought we would be guaranteed with games, we can actually build that up by looking at other ways to engage, connect, and push that in. Again, content, channels, and take some risks. If you build this up, I fully believe the teams that build this up, and this is almost just a forced pivot for us in sports to not rely on our games, our live games. If you build up this content now, it will pay dividends moving forward into off season, into next season, into when games come forward. We should be doing this anyways. As you know, I've been on here saying, hey, we should be building these content pieces up anyways. Now we're at a point, an inflection point in sports, where it's almost necessary. It's almost it's a need. You have to do it to be able to survive within this. So overall, within sponsorship, make sure you're communicating with your sponsors. Make sure you're that foundational rock support to where you can say, hey, we're going to get through this. Games will be coming back live online soon. Stick with us. How can we help? What's your biggest problems? How can our team help that? I think that's most important right now. But then again, you as a team building up the content when you maybe didn't have time or didn't really think it was necessary, now is the time. Build up your channels, YouTube, Snapchat, Instagram, IGTV, Instagram stories outside of live games because we don't have them. Build up that content, that unique content that's going to pull fans in. Take some risks there, and then be better off at the end of this. At the end of this crisis, this stoppage, this cancellation, this postponement, than you were before. And I truly think the teams that do that are going to come out even more ahead. It's almost, in recessions, the brands that spend more on marketing during the recession come out way more on top. This is almost the same with you, right? The teams that spend more time now building in those pieces of content that are going to engage and pull people in will come out even more so on top when this thing shakes out. So first, be safe. First and foremost, that's obviously the most important thing here. That's why we stopped games and sports, but take some of those risks, take some of those channels, really get your stuff onto those channels and push that out there. And this is kind of the quintessential. I always end this thing with keep pushing those limits within sports sponsorship. It's now a necessity. So make sure you guys are getting that in. Love you all. We'll get through this within sports, but keep pushing those limits within sports sponsorship.